What's up, everybody? My name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Monday, August 4th. Now, in today's Dog Bitcoin video is a very bullish video because we actually have a few things that we need to talk about. Number one, we need to talk about the Kraken F1, aka Formula 1 meme coin challenge, because Dog has overtaken Bonk for P2 position. But how far ahead is Dog away from Bonk? Then number two, we have to talk about C2 blockchain potentially, since it's a publicly traded company, could file a Dog ETF. Yes, you heard me right. And what will it take for a Dog ETF to be spawned? Then number three, we need to talk about charting and analysis and a potential pattern that's forming a breakout that could send Dog to roughly 5 billion to even 100 billion in the meme coin super cycle coming up. So let's cover all in this video. I'm very super excited to talk about it. Let's smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X, and please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I will never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email. So please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. So Dog right now is still trading sideways, roughly around a 300 million market cap support level. Now let's look at one thing. Let's look at Bitcoin's price. Now this is Bitcoin by market cap. Now why am I paying attention to Bitcoin by market cap? Because roughly it's around $2.29 trillion. Don't worry, I'm going to look back into this specific market cap later on in the video. But this is the thing I want to talk about the most, okay? This was just announced today by Kraken. Check this out. Dog has now secured P2 position above Bonk at around $10.1 million ahead of Bonk. Now, let's look into how far Dog is away from Bonk in terms of the line chart. Now, this is where Dog stands, okay? So this is Dog right here, which is this orange line. Now, this is what you need to understand, okay? Dog isn't that far ahead compared to Bonk. In fact, we're only less than 0.46% ahead of Bonk. Now, what you need to remember is that last time that we had an update, we were roughly around $300,000 away from Bonk beneath it, and we were roughly 3.54% below Bonk. So check this out. Now that we're ahead of Bonk, we're now leading. We not only flipped Bonk by over 300,000, we're now leading by 0.46%. But I want to remind you that this isn't over. We have 4 days left of this challenge as of today. 4 days left. That means you, to this day, every single day moving forward, every single hour, you need to consider making a trade on Kraken, the consumer app, not Kraken Pro. That means you either buy, you either sell, you either convert, whatever it is, whatever swap you do on Kraken, that counts as trading volume. It could be $1, it could be $100, it could be $1,000 or more. Every single trade counts moving forward up until the day on August 8th that this contest ends. I cannot stress that enough. C2 blockchain even understands the importance of this as is contributing to this cause. And they've actually acquired roughly 200 million Dog. They met their goal today, and they contributed roughly 774,000 US dollars. That's how important this is, and that's why they're doing it exclusively on the Kraken app. Now, if you're living in Germany, you must be wondering, hey, listen, Vincent, I can't trade Dog in Germany. What's up with it? So this was shared by Matthew Barbie. So if you check your app, you should be able to accept certain terms, such as the MiCA regulated permission that allows German residents to trade Dog. Now, you should see these things where you actually click on these buttons and you accept these terms. Now, there is some reports that people in Germany, even though going through this process, have not still been able to trade or buy Dog. Some people have actually done this on August 1st, and right now is August 4th, and still Germans are not able to trade. But just keep paying attention to your app. I'm so sorry that this is happening. I don't know why this is happening and why the Kraken team isn't able to get this. And yes, it does seem kind of unfair. But regardless, just if you can find out if you can trade Dog in Germany at any point in time, we definitely need your help to keep at least the P2 position as of right now. Now, I want to start talking about what could send Dog to the moon, okay? So let's look at the Bitcoin monthly returns. So we're now in the month of August. Now we're only down roughly negative 0.79%. But I want you to notice a pattern that every time we see a Bitcoin halving, a year later in the month of August, you'll notice one thing. So we had a Bitcoin halving in 2012. Well, guess what happened a year later in 2013 in the month of August? We saw that Bitcoin was up plus 30%. And then most of the other Augusts following that was a bearish trend. But in 2016, we saw another Bitcoin happening. A year later in August, guess what happened to Bitcoin? It pumped 65%. And then we had another Bitcoin happening in 2020. Then a year later, in 2021, we were up roughly 13%. Guess what? We had a Bitcoin happening in 2024. What may happen in the month of August a year later in 2025? I think that maybe August, if basically history does rhyme or at least repeats in some certain way, we could see a very bullish, positive month for August. And not just August, also September as well. And here's another bullish catalyst. Now, if you don't know, in July, there is a report that was just shared by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. They predicted that the month of July, that there was going to be 108,000 jobs. There was not. There was roughly around 73 to 75,000 jobs. That's lower than expected. And not only that, look at this specific diagram, which we brought up before. In May and June, in fact, they actually miscalculated the amount of jobs that were inserted into the market. In fact, they saw a downward more than 250,000 combined. Look at that. That's incredibly reduced. Now, as a result of this, have you noticed something on Polymarket? We saw that there was a huge increase in terms of a 25% basis points to be decreased on the announcement of September 17th. That just spiked. And also on the CME tool, we just saw an increase from roughly 43% up to 82% chance that there will be a Fed rate cut of 25 basis points on September 17th on the FOMC meeting. This means if there is going to be a rate cut of 25 basis points, that means there's going to be quantitative easing. That also means that there's going to be the money printer turning on. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't just positive for crypto. This is also positive for stocks as well. This is positive for the market. This is positive for DOG. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the DOG ETF that could be on the horizon. So if you don't know, as of this morning, C2 blockchain officially met its goal of acquiring 200 million DOG tokens for its treasury. Yes, you heard me right. This happened as of today. Now, yesterday, I talked about what if DOG Bitcoin ETF was filed by C2 blockchain. I just want to share that, and it was just an idea. C2 blockchain said this: yes, Cblo, which is their publicly traded stock, already gives investors exposure to DOG. Think of it as an ETF style proxy for now. This is like when people buy MicroStrategy to have exposure to Bitcoin. But then again, they said this: we're actively evaluating what a formal DOG ETF would require. With the largest public DOG holdings, we're positioned to lead if the time comes around. This is very bullish. But also, I want to share with you this clip because I actually publicly asked Mark Yusko. If you don't know, he is the CIO, CEO, and the founder of Morgan Creek Capital. Now, I introduced this idea that maybe Morgan Creek Capital could assist in starting a DOG ETF with C2 blockchain. Because if you don't know, 21 Shares is responsible for the Dogecoin ETF. And most recently, VanEck filed a Pengu ETF. So why not the first Bitcoin ETF for a meme coin with DOG handled by C2 blockchain and also Mark Yusko for Morgan Creek Capital? And the reason I'm saying that is because I'm going to play this clip right now to share with you why Mark is very bullish on DOG.
Mark, if one of your high school friends comes to you and says, hey, I got an extra bit of money, I'm willing to lose, I have my Bitcoin position, I have my ETH position, you pay attention. What's one other altcoin that you're bullish on for 2025?
Yeah. Now, the runes guys want me to say dog go to the moon. So I said it. I do have some. So I'm a huge Casey Rodamore fan, and the runes guys and Leonidas and all those guys. So I love those guys.
And as a result of that, you already see C2 blockchain responding to that clip saying, we're ready to team up with Mark Yusko. So hopefully we can hear from Mark Yusko regarding this, but we may not even need him because maybe C2 blockchain will do it by themselves. But regardless, I think that Morgan Creek Capital, Mark Yusko, along with C2 blockchain, starting this would be an absolute catapult of a bull run. Here's another reason why DOG is next in line to capture the multi-billions of dollars in market cap. Now, remember, back in the Ordinal bull run, back in 2023, you saw predominant Ordinal collections flip predominant blue chip Ethereum NFT collections by market cap. Look at Runestones. Runestones was the Ordinal collections that was second behind CryptoPunks, and it flipped Bored Ape. But below that was Node Monkeys. And below Pudgy Penguins was Bitcoin Puppets. This is how powerful the Bitcoin monetary and Bitcoin ecosystem is when it comes to the monetary power to execute. And this just proved that these predominant ordinal collections that were roughly just a year old flipped these OG NFT collections that were a couple to few years old. That's how fast that is. Now think about fungible tokens on Bitcoin now. Dog right now is positioned to be next in line along with a lot of different Bitcoin meme coins, or aka Bitcoin runes, to flip all these other meme coins. Dog is going to be doing the exact same thing that Runestone, Node Monkeys, and Bitcoin Puppets did. People thought no Ordinals would ever flip Ethereum NFT collections by market cap. Well, guess what? Dog will do the exact same thing on the fungible token side and flip Ethereum and Solana-based tokens easily. Now, you must be wondering, Vincent, you mentioned in the early part of the video that Dog could reach roughly around $5 billion to $100 billion in this upcoming meme coin super cycle. Well, let me explain. Okay, so this is the top meme coins by market cap altogether, all the meme coins from all different chains all together. Now, you need to remember one thing. All the meme coins put together make up roughly at their all-time high $100 billion, okay? And as we know, dog themed meme coins capture the most percentage in market cap. Look at this, they're all in green right now in terms of meme coins. But dog themed meme coins such as Dog, which falls in that category, has the most market cap and market share and mind share. And you've already seen this diagram where Dog is next in line since it's the #1 Bitcoin meme coin, will flip Shiba Inu and Bonk. And really, we only need Dog to reach 1% of Bitcoin's market cap, just like Shiba Inu is close to around 2%, and also Bonk, that's over 2% right now. Now, you remember early on when we looked at Bitcoin's market cap, it was roughly around $2.29 trillion. Remember, right now, Bitcoin's price is around $115,000 US per Bitcoin. We predict that Bitcoin could probably reach around $200,000 to $250,000 US. Now that would bring Bitcoin's market cap total roughly around $3 trillion to even $4 trillion. Now with that said, let's look at Dog. What if Dog were to make up around 0.10% of Bitcoin's market cap? Well, Dog will roughly be around $3 billion to $4 billion. But what about 0.2% of Bitcoin's market cap? Well, that'd be roughly $6 to $8 billion of Bitcoin's market cap. What about 0.5%? Well, that would be roughly around $15 billion to $20 billion. But what if we do reach that 1%, just like as Shiba Inu and Bonk on their other chains? Well, that would mean that Dog would roughly be around $30 billion to $50 billion. That's what I think is the most realistic thing that we could see in the upcoming meme coin super cycle. But you must be wondering, what would it take for Dog to reach $100 billion? Well, in all honesty, I think that Bitcoin's market cap would have to be roughly around $9 trillion. We don't know if that will happen this meme coin super cycle. I just want to be realistic that maybe at the lowest we could reach roughly around $5 billion, which would be right around this zone for the market cap of Dog, and roughly maybe a high roughly around 30 to $40 billion, maybe even higher, just 1% of Bitcoin's market cap. That's the least that we could expect. If you don't believe me, I've shared with you the parabola event where Dog is next in line. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. So let's focus on the very top. Now, every single time that we see these dog themed meme coins have a dog is dead or Doge is dead, there's always a parabola event. And notice that the parabola events happen within a short period of time. Okay, so right over here, this is Dog. Dog is dead. That's what the narrative is. Dog is never gonna pump. It's going to zero. And you must be wondering how many days before we see the God candle. Well, let's look at history. Doge is dead. Look at Doge. It was a flat line. It was completely not talked about. Then all of a sudden, Elon Musk started talking about it, and he was pushing for this coin, and then it was an SNL. Well, that parabola event lasted for 94 days, and it saw a 15,000% God candle. Well, let's go ahead and scroll down to more realistic meme coins. Look at Bonk. Bonk was considered dead for a very long time before it experienced its parabola event, which only took, by the way, 44 days to see 5,000%. And it still saw more of a pump, but this was just the first initial God pump. And look over here, Floki is dead for such a long period of time. Then within 21 days, we saw a 800% increase. Then we scroll down to Shiba Inu, same thing. We saw a huge capitulation event. Shiba Inu was dead for a very long time. Then it only took 23 days for it to see a God candle of over 1,000%. Next is Dog with Hat. Dog with Hat, same thing. Dog with Hat was considered dead, and then it only took 36 days to see over a 1,600% increase. Do you see the pattern here? So when you look at Dog, Dog is dead. What do you think is going to happen after the Dog is dead narrative ends? You're going to probably see roughly between 20 to even 60 days of a parabola event, and this will be over 1,000%. This to me is inevitable. So let's talk about the charting analysis. So this is where we are. And what am I seeing here? I'm seeing two different patterns, okay? So right now, we've already talked many times before about the inverse head and shoulders pattern. This is the left shoulder, this is the right shoulder, and this is the head. This is an inverse head and shoulder pattern. And then we always talk about the breakout that happens afterwards. But also, this is also a triple bottom pattern. So what is that? So a triple bottom pattern is when the price of dog hits the support level at around 300 million market cap 3 times. 1, 2, 3, just like in this chart. And the resistance level is right around here at a 400 million market cap. Then what you're seeing right here is that we're dipping right at this specific point. And if dog tends to follow this trend, then the breakout is followed right over here at the 400 million market cap, with the trend and reversal confirmed, sending us within the month of August above $1 billion in my perspective. And we also need to focus on the charting right now. Okay, so this is a close-up chart. If you notice, dog is up roughly 2.78%, while even Pengu is down roughly, not even that much. It's roughly pumped around less than 1%. Most of the other meme coins like SPX and also Lo-Fi up 5%, Snack up 7%. But let's pay attention to this specific chart. Now, what am I seeing here? I'm not only seeing an inverse head and shoulder pattern or a triple bottom, but I'm also seeing potentially a bull flag. Now, what you need to know is that this is the flagpole for the bull flag. Now, if you notice anything, the dog price is actually trending downwards, forming, what do you think it's going to form? It's forming a bullish bull pennant. A pennant is basically a pattern where the dog price bounces up and down, where this eventually breaks out to the upside. It could actually follow the exact same trend that we're actually predicting. I don't know if this is going to happen by August 13th. It could happen around that time. See, charting analysis doesn't predict the future. It's supposed to minimize risk and garner more reward, but it doesn't promise anything. This just gives us an everyday basis of where dog's price could be. But right now, dog is trying to break past the 300 million price point. Now, if it does break past the 300 million resistance level, I would really pay attention to this dog chart, because right now, even the golden cross on the 50-day to 200-day moving average is still very bullish in my opinion. So right now, we're looking for dog price to go up in this trend, hopefully by August 13th, and that would confirm that within the month of August, this could be the trend where dog starts going to $1 billion. But we have to fight back these resistance levels at around 400, 460, and especially 600 million. But ladies and gentlemen, you already know that I'm very bullish on dog. This is my theory, my thesis on why dog right now has many different catalysts set up for it to head into a bullish pattern. We already talked about how dog is dominating the Kraken F1 challenge. We already talked about how C2 blockchain acquired all 200 million dogs for the treasury, and also potentially working to get a dog ETF, possibly with Mark Yusko and also Morgan Creek Capital. We'll see how that goes. But nonetheless, it's happening. And also the dog charting and analysis with the triple bottom pattern, with the inverse head and shoulder pattern, also with the bullish flag, aka bull pennant pattern. All of this is showing me that dog right now is getting ready to send itself upwards. Also, given the fact that we're seeing that the CME tool and also Polymarket predicting a 25 basis rate cut happening on September 17th, ladies and gentlemen, I can't tell you how bullish I am right now. This is why this is a bullish video, and I just have to share this with you. But as a reminder, keep trading every single day on Kraken. We need to secure this P2 position and hopefully P1, but we need to secure P2. The Bonk team knows that they have been flipped by the dog army. They know that they're going to have to push their marketing and push their traders to trade more. Do not give them that satisfaction. We need to keep the P2 position from now on every single day for the next 4 days, and let's get it, everybody. So smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding dog on the moon. Till then, see you guys, girls, next time.